Okay, we're going to start about 2 minutes. This is the LA County Real Estate Investor Association weekly call. We do Tuesdays at 3 p.m. And we're about 2 minutes away from starting. Look forward to talking to you guys. And in the background, you got my dog barking. Hold on one second. Hey, Bill Gross here. Welcome to our Tuesday afternoon call, the LA County Real Estate Investor Association weekly call. You can find it at LAREIC.com. We meet locally in Los Angeles, but we talk about real estate all across the country. And today we have a guest coming in talking about mobile homes, a lot in California, but as well around the country. The LA County event we have upcoming live. This is what our event looks like. And live, we have Brad Sumrock a week from Thursday, June 8th, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. It's free, or free 99 for those of you who like that price. Free parking if you get there early enough. Meter parking on the street. Free event. And if you get there early at 6:30, there's a vendors expo. We get about 50 vendors on one of them. And these are professionals who have different services. I'm a real estate broker, and other vendors who talk about, who have other things. Insurance, I've worked with insurance agents there as a result of that. Accounting, I found a great accounting firm, Robert Hall & Associates. I use them for my business accounting, tax returns, as well as bookkeeping and overseeing all that. Other vendors, lenders, and coaching companies to help people learn their path in real estate. We stream this live onto Facebook and to YouTube. I'm at Bill Gross EXP. We're going to be changing that soon to at Bill Gross Probate. My particular specialty is probate real estate. And as a result, we're going to change my branding to match that. So normally it's a fast pace and we're up and running, and for some reason I don't see our guest. Franco, are you there? If you're there, raise your hand. Let's see. Did we get the text out? I think we did. Yes. Inbox. Hold it. And there we go. Oh, there's Jess. Okay. I don't think, Jess, I don't know if you're there, but we're looking for Franco still. Not sure what happened. If you can help with that, that'd be great. If you can, I sent an email to him to follow up on the conflict email. So anyhow, if part of this process, what I always tell people in real estate is that to be successful really in anything in life, you need three things, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, or not so humble. Number one, you have to have a coach, a leader, a mentor, somebody who you look up to and has a track record of helping people get what you want. Not selling what they want to sell, but getting people like you from where you are to where you want to be. That's the critical piece. And so some people have a track record in the area, some are working at it, and they got to work a little cheaper until they have that track record, in my humble opinion. A lot of people want to shortcut that process. The second thing you need a leader, coach, or mentor. Second is you need a system or process or a book where they say step by step, here's what you should be doing. And people who've done that have gotten this result. And if you do the same thing, you'll get the same thing. And that could be a book, process, system, methodology, a way that they do business. You'll find all great organizations have that. Third is you have to have a community. You have to have a group of people. And that group should include some people who are like you, brand new if you're brand new, or if you started, some brand new, some people behind you, where you are, and some people ahead of you. And that's to create a sense of camaraderie and of teamwork and of esprit de corps that will help you when times are tough to know there's people who are doing the same thing you're doing and have done the same thing that you've done. Those are three things you need. And so when you come on, if you come on Thursday, a week from Thursday to the real estate event, you'll see some different companies that are coaches. One is Lloyd, who hosts that event. And he hits all three. He has a track record of success. He has programs and processes that you can sign into. And he has a community, and we're part of that community. This phone call is part of that community. I'm thinking if you're signing up and paying people to coach you on how to learn how to build real estate, you'd want to come and meet other investors, and you want to meet other prospective investors and meet other vendors to help you build your business. That's why I do it. I'm a professional in this business all day long. I'm selling houses. And yet I need to talk to more people and meet with more people. And I offer to help people every day. I offer coaching. So that's what we do. And so those are the three things you need. And so I try to bring those people to this call, both because I think it will be a benefit to you and because I find them interesting and because I find them helpful. So I don't see our guest here today still. I know we've emailed him. We're 7 minutes into it. Jess, I don't know if you have the chat box. Any suggestions? We could run the interview. I could accept questions. If you guys, and I will say this, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. If you're watching this on the YouTube or Facebook, we'll pick them up live right now. If in fact you want to test me, put in the state that you live in right now, and I'll read them off to you. But also feel free if you have questions and want to talk about real estate, this is a place to do it. We want you to make mistakes, ask stupid questions here so that you don't learn those answers out in the real world with the money on the line. We want to help you to minimize your failures and maximize your opportunity for success. So while we're waiting, let's talk about in general real estate news. Here's some fascinating real estate news. Interest rates. Who here has a watching interest rates? Well, I think they're one of the most important indicators of the market. And if you take a look at, this is interest rates since 2018, but if we look at just this year, what you're going to see, and I'm going to make this a little bigger so it's easier to read. Take a look at where we are now. This is 6%, this is 7%. We've been in this bandwidth all year. For all the talk and concern about interest rates, we've been between 6 and 7, except when do we went above it, pop back down. went above it again, popped back down. Stayed below till last week. Last week came above it. I did a recording last week on Thursday, and actually I talked about it yesterday. And what I said was the rates always seem to go up right before holidays because I think the bosses take off longer holidays. The junior people watching the store. And so the junior people are always a little more scared and conservative. I think the fear here is about this debt deal. I don't think that deal is not going to happen. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen by the 31st. But there's just too much money in it not to happen. And as a result, rates went from 7.14 today back down to 6.95, back to where they've been for quite a while, in the 6.5 to 7% range. But importantly, we've gone from 6.7 to 7.125. And it might have been you might say, wow, it looks like rates are going up, and they were for that period of time. This goes back since the May 11th. So for the last 2 weeks, we had gone up. But we're not continuing to go up. It's come back down into below 7%, which is, I think, an important threshold. So at least as of right now, no short-term fear of imminent disaster. Who knows? I'm 64 years old. I've been in real estate for 36 years. I've seen a lot, but we are living in uncharted times. There is nothing here that's happened. The COVID and all the economic effects the last 3 years, there's nothing to compare to in history. Does not compare to the 1917 influenza, Spanish flu period. This is just unique, politically unique in every regard. I'm a student of history and a political science major from college, and the rest of my life been involved with the history of it. We're in unique times, and the transition of the U.S. maybe, and then lowering in relative power and rising of China, a transition like that every couple hundred years happening. So these are unique times, certainly worth participating in, and no reason to panic, but certainly volatile times in a way that we've not seen before. So, okay. So again, if you're on the Facebook or YouTube, we'd love to see your comments, love to see your questions, love to answer your questions, and see how we can help you guys build your business, help you build your income and your wealth. I don't see anybody. This is quiet day today. Is this because the holiday? You guys still kind of getting back from the holiday? Who went on a Memorial Day holiday weekend and is still rubbing their eyes trying to get back on it? Just curious. Anybody? No? Who here is excited about the week? It's Tuesday. I think I got trying to put a deal in the escrow here, and got a couple of responses and other offers. So I got a lot going on. Pretty excited about. Got a really hot listing lead. Anybody else have anything you want to share about? I don't see it, so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to end early today. I'm going to give you some time back. I'm sorry our guest didn't make it. I thought we had confirmed. I believe we did. But, things happen, and appreciate your guys' time. Sorry about the inconvenience. Oh, see, Dee, do you have a question? Is it a good market to buy and hold? Dan, great question. Dan, this is the question of the day, man. Is this a great, so let me ask you a question, Dan. Why do you ask that question? Meaning, throughout time, real estate's been a great investment. Why would you ask, is this a great market to buy and hold? What is it about this market that causes you to ask that question? Do you mind sharing that? I think it's a great question. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just asking specifically, what is it that causes you to ask that question? So here's what I'm going to say. I've been in real estate since 1986. There's an ancient, I think it's Chinese proverb. It says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best is today. It is always good to invest in real estate. Always. Buy and hold implies you have money that you can leave for a while and let it grow. There is no better investment in the long run that's going to both appreciate with tax deferred or tax avoidance entirely, as well as convenience if you do it properly. as well as the ability to leverage due to uncertainty of markets coming back to a normal level. Okay, good. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for putting that in. Because his second question is basically, he's asking us due to the uncertainty of the markets. Great question. So here's what I want to say. It's always a good time because if you want to build wealth, now this is the assumption here. You want to live a great life, you want to have wealth. Wealth gives you freedom. I'm not saying wealth as in money to buy cars and planes and helicopters and 30 houses, unless that's what you enjoy. Wealth means you have more money than you need and have the ability to live the life that you want to live. And financial freedom means you don't have to work anymore. Financial freedom means you make enough money off of the assets you have such that you don't need to work anymore. Like theoretically today, I could retire on the money that I've already earned and put aside now and would continue earning. Now, I'll live a better life because I'm making really good money right now if I continue to make really good money for the next 3-5 years. And by the way, I love what I'm doing. I really enjoy it. I don't door knock 3 hours a day. I didn't enjoy that. I don't cold call anymore. I don't enjoy that. I love helping people build their business and their wealth. So when you like what you're doing most of the time, and when you make a lot of money, then you have financial freedom, you can continue to work. But the question he's asking, is it a good time? The first thing you have to get is, what's the goal of the game? The best book ever, the first book you should read, if you're on this call, if you're thinking about real estate investing, is Rich Dad Poor Dad, because he lays out the game and the rules of the game. The game is to make more money than you spend, invest the difference, so you get to the point that you can live on your investments and you don't need to work anymore. Then you can just work to build your investments. That's kind of where I'm at, in a sense. Maybe not completely, but kind of. And so my point is, when you ask the question, is it a good market to invest? If the game is always make more money than I spend and invest the difference for long-term growth and appreciation, it's always a good time to buy and sell, buy and hold. The question is, what do you buy? What do you hold? What do you not hold? How do you get it? But yes, the answer is always yes. Always, always, always yes. How do you do it? The tactics change. Even the market was collapsing. From 2008 to 2010, when prices were dropping, there are people who bought property that cash flowed. And even though the house went down in value, they were receiving a residual income for the property such that it didn't matter the house went down in value, they were getting return on their investment monthly. And then eventually the prices went back up again. So now they're getting cash flow and appreciation. So if you want to say to me, Dan, that, and I love your question, if you want to ask me, well, I'm concerned about the market, okay, but the reason why certain assets are available today is because of that uncertainty. And as that uncertainty grows, there'll be more opportunities. Those uncertainties create for the informed investor more opportunities. That's good for you if you know what you're doing, bad for you if you don't. So the answer is yes, it's always a great time to buy and hold. As long as you know the value, you buy at the right price, you buy in the right terms, and you protect yourself. And as long as you buy properties that cash flow, and those cash flow numbers are real, and the property is properly managed, and the market that you're buying in is reasonable, as long as all those are true, you can't lose. Where you lose is pay too much for the property, because the last guy paid, some have to pay more. Where you lose is when you're in a hyper growth market, because those inevitably slow down and there's some corrections. Las Vegas and Phoenix went up tremendously, corrected, but they still are fantastic investments over time. You don't want to buy into an economy where they are turning on ownership. For example, Los Angeles, you'd be very careful doing rental property in Los Angeles. There are people who do it and do a great job because it's a very unique market. But overall, man, the city and the state just want to really take property from owners and just hand it to voters. That's really what we're doing in California. So I wouldn't necessarily buy and hold property. I would never buy and hold property in California. And I will say, I don't buy a whole property in California for two reasons. One, California's a bad market for real estate. Number two, my business is mostly in California, and I'm trying to diversify. So I bought property, interest in property in other states. So I'm diversified out of California. I don't want everything I own to be in the state for a variety of reasons. One of which is, man, this state is just turning away businesses every day. We turned away State Farm. State Farm is no longer insuring new policies in the state of California. That's a bad sign for homeowners in California. It means your homeowners insurance is going to go up, your service is going to go down. So anyhow, to answer your question, is it a good time to buy a home? I'll say this, it's the best time of my career. Why do I say that? There's never been more money available to first-time and newer investors and those looking to scale. It was a club that you couldn't get into 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Today, almost anybody can get started, get a couple deals under their belt, and then get unlimited capital. And with technology today, you have a chance to leverage your work in a way you never were able to do that before. The young guy who I had signed up for today's call, I'm not sure what happened to him, but Franco Perez, he runs a huge business in mobile homes, young guy. He's a colleague of mine, I think also at EXP Real. No, he's a colleague of Williams. Young guy. And he's a handsome guy and dynamic and such. But he's built an amazing business in this market. So great question to Dan. Thank you so much for participating. Any other questions from you or anybody else? If you're watching this, I see we got a nice following on YouTube and Facebook. Feel free if you have questions to jump in. I'd be glad to answer them. We're talking about general real estate. So I talked about the mortgage rates and what an effect they have on the market. And again, just to reiterate, today we had a nice move. I think the pre-holiday fear was that congressional debt limit thing was going to fall apart. I think there'll still be some drama, but at least we're not expecting things to fall apart today. I think that's a real positive. That's interesting. So Dan says he's also in Los Angeles. How can such investors or business owners build in Los Angeles? I don't know. Personally, that's why I invest out of state. I've had on here multiple people presenting, in fact, the ones I invest in, talk about opportunities in Texas, opportunities in Florida, where I am, opportunities in Tennessee, North Carolina. Business owners are building, investors are buying property here in California. I will say that I do invest through a real estate investment trust called Rexford Industrial. They buy industrial properties and fix them up. And it's kind of like a stock you own, but it's called a REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. And I like their long-term vision. I like their unique approach. I also happen to know one of the two co-presidents is my brother-in-law, bright guy, sharp as a tack. So you're buying into the company, you're buying into their vision, but I've done real well with that over time. But how can investors buy or build in Los Angeles? You better know what you're doing. The people who build and make money in Los Angeles know what they're doing. They know the market. This is no place for a new person, not unless you have money to burn and want to look at the money you lose as your education money. But I would say in general here in Los Angeles, if you're going to build a property or do a substantial rehab, I'm not talking about a fix and flip. Cosmetically, I'm talking about additions and adding ADUs. This is no place for the meek. This is big time golf, in my opinion. And way more complicated, way more structured, way more bureaucratic. Just selling a house. I have to get reports and waivers on water and just so much bureaucracy in LA that just doesn't exist in other cities and states. That all those things just make it harder to do business and harder, most importantly, to do business profitably. Okay, while I have you guys on the call, I think I'll just kind of go through another kind of overview of what I talk about on my weekly video. So on the buyer side, the issue is mortgage rates. On the listing side, the key factor is inventory. And what I want to say is, as long as there is limited inventory, there cannot be a housing crash. As long as there's limited inventory, there cannot be a housing crash. And what do we have? Lowest inventory tied forever We're below 2022. We're now tied with 2021 for the lowest ever. And you can see, other than the 3 pandemic years, they all 3 are about half of the lowest years ever recorded on inventory. So with no inventory, housing prices can't crash. And that's not just true for, these are national statistics we're looking at through Teradata research. But it's also true in our local market in Los Angeles. I'll show you what I put on my call every week. This is a great source called Altos Research. They're calling this market today a seller's market, hovering at 50. It had been 43 and 44. They call a seller's market around 30. And here we are at 50. And it was 43 or 44 until a few days ago. And the drop in inventory and the continued strengthening of prices. And one of the key things I always look at is price per square foot. That's what you buy, what you get when you buy a house in Los Angeles. One of the most fascinating statistics they have on this chart, price per square foot, and they break it down into market segments. And what you can see, I'm not sure what this month is about, but what you see is 4 market segments, the price per square foot, it's been pretty steady. So what happens is, for the most part, in general, smaller houses sell more per square foot. In LA, bigger houses have bigger amenities. That's why the difference per square foot isn't as great as you would think. Because in other markets, it's the opposite. The bigger houses sell for less per square foot. It used to be here in LA, but now all of our bigger houses have much bigger amenities. But the most important thing is take a look at how flat that number is. And what this tells you is that we have more houses being sold with more amenities and bigger square footage, not necessarily the dollar per square foot, but it's certainly not going down, right? In the last year, it's not going down. Now, this price range is interesting. I'm not sure, there's some aberration here in these numbers where the data is not exactly accurate. So I don't know if it's a zip code issue. Oh, it's the wrong zip code. That's just one zip code. I'm sorry. Let me get the right information here. You know, data is only as good as what you input at. There you go. That's the right number. 44, yeah. And the price per square foot, notice how it's just steadily gone up in each of these segments. The numbers I showed you before were one particular zip code, but this is overall Los Angeles. And you can see we started in 2018 here, and it's gone up slightly. At all the square footages, we've gone up dollars per square foot. And you see a correction in the highest end, but the moderate and lower price, no correction. So when we see price corrections in Los Angeles, at least, all that means is the highest high-end houses have dropped in price, but the other ones have not. Okay. Missy says, shows duplexes in Cape Coral, Florida. I know where Coral Springs is. I want to say Cape Coral, I think, is on the southwest part of Florida. Yes, hurricane caused some damage, and the insurance company is dropping as of July. We double down, buy more, knowing more hurricanes are likely. Gosh, that's a great question. You know, I can't say I've really studied hurricanes and the numbers. I do know there's different types of insurance, and you can have hurricane insurance that protects certain things, not flooding, but they do protect other things. And so you need to think about where those properties are, when they're built. I know I looked at buying property, I want to say near there, some turnkey rentals. I think that's near Fort Myers, if I remember correctly. But I buy only newer property. They're stronger because some of these older properties with the 2019 built, yeah, I think that's great. And they went up in value and rents too. Yeah, that's a great market. I would buy there for sure. I live in California. I go to Florida once a year for business, to Orlando. I would rather invest in Jacksonville or Boca, where I used to live. But I would buy, if I was an investor, I would be all over Southwest Florida. I think it's desirable, jobs, the economy's growing there, it's healthy, good business environment. I think that you need to be prepared for hurricanes. I think you need to expect that properties are going to have damage from time to time. That's part of Florida, just like we have in California, droughts and fires and other things. But I lived there for 2 years, and nothing got destroyed while I lived there. So Thank you, Missy, for sharing on that. Yeah, she's in Southwest Florida. They went up in value and the rents went up also. Exactly. So you live in Calabasas and you bought those sight unseen. Missy, do you mind sharing, how did you find those properties? Was there a company you went through? Was it somebody that introduced you to it? Did you used to live in Coral Gables? How did you end up buying property? I was working with a company, Rent to, and I interviewed them on my channel, and I got really close to buying Rent to Retirement. And I interviewed them on my channel, on this show, actually. And I think they're great, but the problem was when I went to buy properties, I was in escrow one and they couldn't close on time. You follow the Bruce Norris group. Yeah, Bruce Norris, I think he used to live in California. I think he moved to Florida, didn't he? If I remember right. Bruce Norris is one of the longtime real estate experts. He builds out there. Yeah, he was building houses in California until the market kind of turned on him and thought that it was way overpriced. The Bruce Norris is just a legend of real estate. I believe now he has sons involved in his business, or a son, or family members, and he's built a real company. And they give a lot of market research and teach a lot of real estate agents, and I think do it the right way. I have personally, Bruce Norris used to, I think, be in Brea, California, or Fulton, near where I used to live in Diamond Bar. And though I've never been to his events, I want to say two things I know about him is, one, he is a committed to charity, committed to improve his community. And two, I've never heard anything bad about him or his company or the process. Now, my take on them is, in some ways I'm similar. He basically just teaches how to work hard and build a portfolio and encourages you to do it. He's not one of those gurus as a get-rich-quick scheme. I think they're also lenders and do hard money lending, and they end up getting properties that way. But definitely a legitimate organization. I wish I knew somebody in their group, and I wish I could. I reached out to them to interview them on my channel, and for whatever reasons, I just have not got the right connection. Missy, if you know somebody, I would love to interview them separately on my YouTube and maybe bring them on this call if it was appropriate. I think a lot of Bruce, and I know when he speaks, he gets a huge audience. He's a legend, and deservedly so. And I personally have never heard anything bad about him. I'm sure his people don't like him. I'm sure there are people who feel they're cheated by him or his company. You can't be in business without somebody without ruffling some feathers. But I want to say, of all the people I know of Southern California real estate, there's a guy who stands at the apex of reputations, from what I can tell. You can build with him, and I can hook you up with. Please do. Forward me his information. If you guys are all welcome to reach out to me on social media. I'm at Bill Gross EXP, or phone me 310-210-0008. I would love to connect with anybody in Bruce. I would look at investing with them in Florida, and more importantly, I would love to interview him for my YouTube channel and maybe even on this program. Okay, wow, Missy, have we met before? I feel like you're my new hero. Okay, anybody else have questions regarding real estate investing? We talked about inventory a little bit. We talked about mortgage rates. I do want to also add, in terms of free resources, I do a weekly email about the market. And if you're interested in getting that, I'm going to post a link. I'd love to have you join my email. I send it every Monday. And then I additionally, it includes a YouTube link. And so as a result, I'd love to have you get my email every week that I send out to my database, and hopefully help you learn from that as well. Okay, so sign up form. Where are we at? No, we don't want that form. Okay, I'm gonna have to post it after the fact. I'll put it in the description. Okay, look at that. I got a counteroffer as we're sitting here talking. Check my email. I shouldn't be doing that. We just joined DXP. Well, welcome to DXP, Missy Improda out in Calabasas. Welcome to the team. Glad to have you. It is a movement. I'm going to tell you guys, for those of you who aren't real estate agents, EXP, we say it's the Netflix of real estate. It really is. And what I mean by that is, not to make this an advertisement by EXP, but just to share information as we're talking. When I was a young father, we would take my daughter when she was young, when she was in grade school and middle school. And one of the funnest things to do with a child was to take them to Blockbuster. Now, to go back, because I'm older than most of you, before Blockbuster, there were independent video stores. We lived in Diamond Bar, and there were 3 little stores that rented VHS cassette videos. And then there was an innovative company that would deliver them with fast food, Mexican food, fast food. What was it called? Something meals, delivering meals and movies. And then one day Blockbuster opened and put them out of business. And the big deal with kids was to take my daughter at the time, she still remembers this, and you go to Blockbuster and let them pick out 1 or 2 movies, depending on how good they were. And then they would either get like a little toy or a candy or popcorn. They would sell these tubs of popcorn at Blockbuster. It was like an entertainment thing. You go rent 2 movies for like $5 each or $3 each. Popcorn was like $10. You're out the door for $16 for 2 movies. It was great. It was like the greatest entertainment ever for children. And one day they started to decline, and one day they were just gone. What happened? Netflix happened. Because it wasn't Netflix, in the initial days, Netflix would mail out DVDs. I had friends who did that, and that just seemed like a lot of hassle. And I just imagined my DVDs would get lost and have late fees, and I didn't want to deal with all that. But the day that Netflix offered online video, Blockbuster basically was doomed. And why? Because what's the difference between renting a video and getting one downloaded? Well, it's a couple bucks. As a parent, I have to pay for the popcorn anymore, or have the popcorn if I didn't want my kids to have it. But it was just easier, faster. Going out to the movies used to be, when I was young, going to the movies. We all would get together on the phone, decide a movie, hop in the car and drive somewhere and watch the same movie. Then it became we go to Blockbuster and pick separate movies. And that became we even get out of the house and we just flip through cable or Netflix. But the cost difference was so great, put them out of business. In real estate, EXP, what's unique is it's like Netflix. There's one company worldwide, 80,000 agents. When you see other big companies like Keller Williams, Remax, Century 21, there are really multiple companies under one brand, like a franchise. And so they don't have the same combined resources and the same collaboration in an industry that's all about collaboration. And so we can just do things as a company they can't do. They can't compete. For example, my YouTube channel. As a real estate agent, I can share my content on our internal company website, and not all 88,000 agents will watch it, but I'll get 100. And so I have 100 views on my YouTube, more than most realtors at other companies, just because of the company I'm with. And there's a number of other things like that. And so as a result, here's Missy. I don't know who she is. I don't think she's following me because I'm with EXP. But she's going to all companies, she's changing to EXP. We're growing while other companies are downsizing and letting people go because of the unique cost structure of EXP. What does that mean if you're not an agent? Probably not much, but just don't be surprised that if you see an agent, they happen to be with EXP. And the other thing is a lot of agents advertise a brand, and you don't know that they are brokered by EXP. Or like I'm a broker, I could use my own company name, brokered by EXP, and you wouldn't necessarily notice it. I do the opposite. I kind of fly under their flag because they do so much for me. Okay, last questions, last call. Who's got a question, comment, problem, worried about real estate? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody know that reference, Bueller? Okay, not seeing any here. I don't want this thing to drag on too long. So we're going to wrap it up. I'm not sure up in our guest. We'll reschedule him or get him when appropriate. But thank you, Missy, for talking about investing in Florida. Love to find that. Thank you to Don. Really appreciate a chance to chat with you as well. And thanks to those who are watching. Look, if you want to see more of these videos, like it, comment on it. If you have some idea of content you'd like to see in the video, please put it in the comment section, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. I'll catch up with it and do my best to respond to you. I hope you guys have a great week. A week from Thursday, don't forget, just real quick since I have you guys here, we have our the LA County Real Estate Investor Association meeting. We get together, we get about 250 people together, and we have a vendors expo, about 50 vendors. Special guest Brad Sumrock, specialist, really an expert. He really has a whole tribe of people on multifamily investing. So if you're looking to invest, particularly out of state, he's a great person. Thursday, June 8th, free event, free parking if you get there early enough. And look forward to seeing you guys there. Final Speed, you guys have a fantastic week. Thanks so much.